The oarfishes typically undergo serial autotomy. What do I mean by that?
Beneath the vast, endless expanse of the world's oceans lies a realm of mystery and primal fear, where the line between legend and reality often blurs. For centuries, sailors and naval crews have shared chilling tales of monstrous creatures lurking beneath the waves.
Terrifying as it is, awe-inspiring of what's believed to be the biggest great white shark.
Beasts so immense and powerful that they challenge the imagination. Among these stories, none are more haunting than those born from real encounters with colossal sharks during wartime, when the ocean's hidden terrors revealed themselves in unforgiving ways. Even the U.S. Navy may have come face to face with a monster shark bigger than the Megalodon. But there's much more to our exploration of the deep blue sea. Let's get started. Number 15. Attacked by a lemon shark. The early hours of August 12, 2001, had barely unfolded in Boca Palms, Florida, when 33-year-old Eric Taylor arrived at the beach. The waters off Florida's coast, particularly near Boca Palms, are rich in marine biodiversity. Lemon sharks are common in the shallows here. Typically, they pose little threat to humans, but despite their usual aversion to confrontation, lemon sharks are still wild animals. As Eric glided farther into the glassy blue, the rhythm of his strokes hypnotic, he unknowingly swam into a shark's domain. Without warning, the calm turned to chaos. Eric felt an explosion of pressure and pain as the shark latched onto his leg, its teeth tearing through muscle and flesh. He twisted and thrashed. The attack wasn't sustained. Eric managed to strike the shark's snout, a known weak point among shark experts. Briefly, it let go, blood clouding the water as Eric tried to flee, but the shark returned. It struck again, less direct but no less terrifying, grazing his thigh. Eric's second blow, a kick that landed squarely on the shark's side, gave him the break he needed. He swam with every ounce of strength he had left, finally reaching the safety of the beach, where help arrived soon after. His injuries were severe, but not fatal. Marine biologists later noted that the bite pattern matched that of a juvenile lemon shark, perhaps 4 to 5 feet long. Scary, right? Well, we're just getting started. Number 14. Deep sea monsters. In the shadowy depths of the ocean, where sunlight barely penetrates and life has evolved in eerie, alien ways, some creatures carry an aura so strange that they blur the lines between fact and folklore. One such encounter unfolded in Krabi Province, Thailand, where a seasoned local fisherman named Prayer Sul stumbled upon a creature that seemed entirely out of place, a fish so grotesque and uncanny that it triggered an instinctive sense of dread. Its body was short and thick, its mouth grotesquely wide, and its face, uncannily anthropomorphic, seemed to mock the human form. Overwhelmed by fear and superstition, Prayer fled the scene, abandoning the strange catch on the shore. At home, he described the unsettling sight to his family, and though they tried to reassure him, the tension in his voice convinced them something truly unusual had occurred. Summoning the courage to return to the beach, Prayer found the fish lifeless. It measured 42 centimeters and weighed just under 3 kilograms, yet its appearance was anything but ordinary. News of the bizarre discovery quickly spread through the village, stirring anxiety and curiosity in equal measure. However, when marine biologists examined the specimen, they offered a more grounded perspective. The creature was identified as a stargazer, a bottom-dwelling fish known for its upward-facing eyes and peculiar flattened head. These fish spend most of their lives buried in sand or sediment, lying in ambush for unsuspecting prey. Their human-like features and unsettling stillness are the result of evolutionary adaptation, not supernatural malevolence. Stargazers are found in both shallow and deeper coastal waters, and while they are not commonly seen, they are not unknown to science. In fact, their odd appearance has been documented in various regions, often eliciting similar reactions of fear and fascination. Some species even possess venomous spines and the ability to generate mild electric shocks, reinforcing their reputation as one of the sea's more uncanny inhabitants. Number 13. Narrow escape from a saltwater crocodile. In the autumn of 1995, seasoned adventurer Sarah Mitchell embarked on an expedition through the raw and untamed wilderness of Western Australia. Her destination was the Ord River, a sinuous waterway winding through one of the most remote and striking regions of the outback. The area was known not only for its striking eucalyptus groves and exotic wildlife, but also for the silent menace that lurked beneath the surface, Crocodilus porosus, the saltwater crocodile. Sarah, no stranger to danger, had come prepared with satellite communication gear, emergency supplies, and a sturdy canoe. Still, no preparation could have been enough for the primal fury she was about to face. Just after dawn, she paddled into a narrow gorge. Here, without warning, a massive crocodile launched itself from the shallows beneath her, its scaled mass smashing into the canoe with devastating power. The impact sent Sarah and her craft spiraling into the air, her body hitting the water with a disorienting slap. As the reptile began circling her, Sarah clung to a floating tree branch, fending off its lunges. Scanning the area, Sarah spotted a cluster of rocks partially submerged near the edge of the gorge. Kicking hard with her legs and using the branch as both flotation and defense, she forced herself toward the boulders. Gasping and shaking, she pulled herself onto the largest rock as the beast churned the water below. She scaled the slippery rocks toward higher ground. The crocodile followed, rashing through the shallows, but the terrain broke its momentum. Finally, Sarah reached the top of the bank and collapsed, soaked and bleeding, but alive. Number 12. Herring King. Off the shores of California's Santa Catalina Island, in the wake of a storm, a monstrous figure lay motionless on the sand, drawing the attention of beachgoers and local authorities alike. The sheer size of the creature made it an immediate spectacle. It took the combined strength of 16 people to drag the fish fully ashore. The animal turned out to be an oarfish, historically dubbed the Herring King, a nickname steeped in old maritime lore that painted these deep-sea dwellers as rulers of vast underwater domains. The specimen measured an impressive 5 meters in length, its long, ribbon-like body shimmering with metallic silver scales and trailing delicate red fins like streamers from another world. Though rarely seen, oarfish are distributed widely across the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans, typically dwelling at mysterious depths between 500 and 700 meters. Their elusive nature and sinuous movements have made them prime candidates for inspiring centuries of sea serpent legends. For Amy McCall, founder of the island-based nonprofit Mountain and Sea Adventures, this marked a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. After 2 decades of educating students and visitors about marine biology in these waters, it was the first time she had laid eyes on such a creature in the flesh. The oarfish, despite its eerie appearance and staggering length, is a boneless, bony fish, technically part of the lampriforms order. While most oarfish specimens reach lengths of 3 meters, the largest ever recorded stretched to a jaw-dropping 11 meters and weighed around 272 kilograms, giving credence to centuries-old tales of sea monsters witnessed by sailors in uncharted waters. These fish are rarely seen alive. Most documented cases involve individuals who have washed ashore, usually injured or dying, sometimes following seismic activity or underwater disturbances. In the case of the Santa Catalina oarfish, its sudden beaching sparked fascination, media buzz, and scientific curiosity. Was it disoriented by undersea tremors? Did illness drive it upward from its Twilight Zone habitat? Whatever the cause, its appearance was a powerful reminder that Earth's final frontier, the deep sea, continues to guard mysteries that surface only in glimpses. Number 11. Swept away by a rogue wave. On a radiant morning in 2006, as 20-year-old Emily Harris paddled out to the sea on her surfboard, a crackle from the loudspeakers pierced the ambiance. An immense rogue swell was approaching. Emily, however, did not hear the warning. The rogue wave, towering higher than any she'd ever seen, rose like a wall of liquid steel and descended without mercy. When she finally surfaced, sputtering and disoriented, the coast was a fading smudge on the horizon. She had been dragged miles out to sea, but the danger was far from over. As Emily steadied herself on her board, she realized that she'd drifted into a known shark-feeding ground. Her worst fears were confirmed when a massive dorsal fin cut through the water nearby. Emily remained motionless, resisting the primal urge to flee. Every instinct screamed at her to paddle, to splash, to escape. But she knew that might trigger a fatal chase. She locked eyes with the great white as it began to circle, its cold gaze fixed and unreadable. Time stretched unnaturally, but she held fast. Then, far in the distance, a mechanical whine rose above the ambient sea. Emily turned her head just enough to glimpse a jet ski racing toward her, its driver part of the competition's safety crew. She waved subtly, not daring to divert her attention from the predator. The rescuer, eyes scanning the water with professional urgency, pulled close. With movements so slow they felt excruciating, Emily climbed aboard, the great white still looming nearby. Only when the engine roared to life and the craft surged forward did she allow herself to breathe again. Number 10. Mysterious Sea Monster. The sea has always been a place where fact and folklore blur, especially under the cover of night, when visibility fades and the imagination takes over. Such was the case during a quiet voyage from the icy swells of the North Sea toward the warmer currents of West Africa. It was here that an adept fisherman named Peter had been out fishing when an unexpected storm struck with violent force. The sea turned savage within minutes. Towering waves crashed over his small vessel. Lightning flashed across the sky, and in the chaotic frenzy of foam and darkness, something emerged, something massive and alive. Peter could never clearly describe what it was. He couldn't say how large it had been, nor its exact shape. All he could remember were its eyes, glowing, intelligent, and almost searching. Before he could react, everything went black. When he awoke, his boat was destroyed, and he was lying on a stretch of shoreline miles away, wet and bruised, but miraculously alive. He had no idea how he had made it to safety. Interestingly, this is not a unique case at all. While tales of sea monsters are often chalked up to embellishment or confusion, marine animals like dolphins have, time and again, demonstrated behavior that borders on the miraculous. Known for their intelligence and complex social structures, dolphins have rescued drowning swimmers, circled to protect people from sharks, and even nudged the injured toward shore. In the middle of a storm, with darkness swallowing everything and adrenaline clouding judgment, the appearance of dolphins, slicing through the waves, making contact, and pushing against a human body, could easily be mistaken for something much more mysterious. Number 9. A harrowing encounter with a territorial reef shark. On April 14, 2007, Simon set out to explore a less traveled section of the reef, a remote dive site roughly 80 kilometers off the coast of Queensland. The reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers, teems with more than 1,500 species of fish and countless hidden passageways. Armed with a full tank and a high-tech dive computer, Simon followed the contours of the reef downward, moving past familiar sights until he reached a particularly narrow underwater tunnel, partially obscured by coral fans. Here, his beam caught a slow-moving shadow, elongated and silent, wedged in the darker recesses of the cavern. This was a gray reef shark. Measuring about 2 meters in length, it wasn't the largest predator Simon had seen, but its presence in the confined space was immediately threatening. Reef sharks are generally not aggressive, especially not to humans. But like many apex predators, they are highly territorial, and this one had clearly chosen the cave as its resting ground. Simon remained completely still, aware that any sudden movement could be interpreted as a threat. But the shark surged forward. It didn't strike him, but its close brush was a warning, a muscle-flexing display meant to intimidate. Simon's back scraped the jagged wall as he recoiled instinctively, heart pounding and limbs rigid. His air tank was down to its last quarter, and his options were dwindling fast. Drawing on years of diving experience, he decided to gamble everything. With a calculated push, he launched himself forward, not with aggression, but with firm confidence, just enough to startle the shark without triggering an attack response. It worked. Startled by his unexpected advance, the reef shark veered off toward deeper water beyond the cave entrance. Seizing the moment, Simon kicked hard, his body slicing through the passage as he broke free of the tight space and bolted toward the surface. His lungs screamed for air. With the last remaining pressure in his tank, he reached the open water, gasping as he burst into sunlight. The reef shimmered peacefully beneath him, not interested in a chase. Number 8. Snake predating on a fish. On a humid summer morning in early July 2019, Houston resident Chase McCrae set off with his fishing rod to the tranquil waters of northwest Harris County. Like many anglers, he sought the quiet thrill of a good catch and the peaceful rhythm of the outdoors. As he cast his line and waited patiently, the stillness of the water was broken by a sudden, forceful tug. Expecting a large bass or catfish, Chase braced himself and began reeling in. But as the catch surfaced, he was taken aback, not by the size of the fish, but by the violent drama playing out on the end of his line. Entwined around his hooked fish was a snake, its muscular body coiled tightly around the struggling creature, its jaws poised for a fatal strike. What Chase had caught wasn't just a fish. It was a moment frozen between life and death, predator and prey. Amazed by the rare sight, Chase did what many in the digital age would instinctively do. He recorded it. His video captured the tense, almost cinematic encounter in vivid detail. It wasn't just the spectacle of a snake hunting underwater that gripped viewers. It was the delicate, moral dilemma that followed. Rather than passively observing or detaching the entire entangled mass with indifference, Chase made a choice. He intervened. Armed with a knife, he cautiously worked to separate the snake from its prey, all while ensuring minimal harm to either creature. Eventually, the fish was pried free, bearing only a few signs of the violent embrace it had narrowly escaped. The snake, likely a non-venomous water snake native to the region, slithered away unharmed. Chase gently released the fish back into the water, granting it a second chance at life. The video went viral within days, sparking debates among viewers about whether human intervention in such natural events is justifiable or even impactful. In any case, it was a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Number 7. Enigmatic translucent creatures. Far below the shimmering surface, where sunlight barely penetrates and pressure mounts with every meter, lies a realm of oceanic mystery inhabited by some of the sea's most mesmerizing inhabitants. Translucent creatures whose ghostly forms drift silently through the abyss. The glass squid, for instance, boasts a nearly transparent body, cloaked in a subtle armor of see-through tissue that renders it almost invisible in the dim twilight of the deep sea. This camouflage is far more than mere aesthetics. It is a critical survival tactic. By blending seamlessly into the dark waters, the glass squid evades detection by both the relentless predators that roam the depths and the wary prey it hunts. Alongside these larger translucent hunters are the tiny sea butterflies, or pteropods, which are minute marine snails with delicate, transparent shells and bodies so fragile they seem spun from glass. Their translucency serves a dual purpose. Beyond camouflage, it is an elegant adaptation that helps them regulate buoyancy.
The camera gave them these images of the tiny creature at the center of a sometimes 3-foot diameter web of intricately constructed mucus.
allowing them to hover effortlessly within specific layers of the water column. Despite their diminutive size, often smaller than a grain of rice, sea butterflies hold outsized importance. They are a vital link in marine food webs, sustaining fish, whales, and seabirds, and contributing to the ocean's nutrient cycles by processing organic matter. Even the graceful, flowing forms of translucent jellyfish add to this eerie underwater ballet. Their gelatinous bodies, nearly invisible in the deep, pulse with a slow, hypnotic rhythm, embodying the delicate balance between vulnerability and resilience. In their translucence lies both a shield and a mystery, a natural cloak that hides their movements and intentions from the watchful eyes of the deep. Together, these translucent creatures illuminate the profound ingenuity of life on our planet. Their near invisibility, ethereal beauty, and vital ecological roles speak to the extraordinary adaptations required to survive in the ocean's dark, pressurized depths. Number 6. Giant sunfish. In December 2021, the quiet island of Faial in the Azores, Portugal, found itself at the center of international scientific attention when a discovery just off its shores sent ripples through the marine biology community. Floating near the surface of the Atlantic was the lifeless body of an enormous creature, an ocean sunfish, or mola mola, so massive that it challenged the limits of what was believed possible for bony fish. Local fishermen, stunned by the sight, alerted authorities, and a team of marine researchers was swiftly dispatched to recover and study the rare find. Bringing the fish ashore was no easy feat. Weighing an extraordinary 2,744 kilograms, just over 6,000 pounds, and measuring more than 3.5 meters in length, the specimen broke the world record for the heaviest known bony fish ever documented, surpassing the previous record holder by an astounding 500 kilograms. Its flattened, disc-like body was an imposing presence, even in death, a surreal reminder of the uncharted lives that unfold in the abyssal zones of the ocean. Sunfish are some of the most peculiar creatures in the sea. Named for their habit of floating at the surface to soak in the sun, possibly to regulate their internal body temperature after diving deep, they appear almost otherworldly. Their truncated bodies, stiff dorsal and anal fins, and small mouths make them look more like floating shields than actual fish. But they are marvels of evolution. Found in temperate and tropical oceans around the world, sunfish are capable of plunging to depths exceeding 800 meters. Despite their enormous size, they are surprisingly gentle and feed mostly on jellyfish, plankton, and small fish. Interestingly, they are among the most fertile creatures in the animal kingdom. Female sunfish can lay up to 300 million eggs at a time, yet their survival rate is painfully low, with most offspring falling prey to predators or environmental hazards before reaching maturity. This particular giant's death, while tragic, offered researchers an unprecedented opportunity to study the biology of these elusive fish. Detailed scans, tissue samples, and measurements were taken before the fish was buried. Number 5. Vampire of the Seas. In the sweltering heat of early July 2019, off the rugged coasts of Mexico, a group of seasoned fishermen hauled aboard a creature that seemed to leap straight from the pages of a gothic nightmare. This was a toothed triggerfish, a marine oddity that immediately sparked eerie comparisons to legendary sea vampires. This fish's menacing visage was dominated by a jawful of sharp, vividly blood-red teeth. What sets the toothed triggerfish apart is not merely the intimidating size or shape of its teeth, but their strikingly intense crimson hue, a rare pigmentation in the underwater world that makes it appear as if the fish is perpetually ready for a gruesome feast. Against the backdrop of its muted, textured body, these teeth stand out like bright rubies, enhancing its fearsome, almost otherworldly presence. This blood-like coloration has fueled countless local legends and superstitions, with some coastal communities weaving tales of the fish as oceanic vampires. Yet, the toothed triggerfish is far from a mythical monster confined to Mexican waters. Its known habitat spans a remarkable geographic range, revealing its adaptability and ecological importance. From the temperate coastal waters of South Africa, through the warm, nutrient-rich currents of the Red Sea, to the subtropical expanses near southern Japan, this species has carved out a niche in a variety of marine environments. They have even been spotted navigating the vibrant coral reefs of Australia's Great Barrier Reef, where their presence plays a subtle but crucial role in maintaining the delicate balance of reef ecosystems. Number 4. Call of the Sirens. A retired U.S. Navy sailor recently shared a haunting memory from his time patrolling near the remote Marshall Islands. While aboard a military vessel navigating calm Pacific waters under an overcast sky, he and his crew encountered something chilling. Strange cries and wails echoed across the sea, moaning, whispering, and even screaming. Clearly human-like and impossible to ignore. These were not mechanical noises or the typical sounds of nature. The crew initially assumed the sounds came from seabirds, whales, or unfamiliar marine life. But the skies were empty and the ocean still. Everyone aboard heard the eerie sounds, confirming it wasn't fatigue or imagination. Some speculated it was the wind, while others recalled island folklore about spirits or the cries of lost souls. One even suggested inviting local villagers aboard for answers. Though the idea was dismissed, a scientific explanation offered some clarity. Oceanographers recognize a phenomenon known as the voice of the sea, involving infrasound, low-frequency sound waves that occasionally shift into the audible range under specific conditions. These ghostly noises can travel vast distances, amplified by the ship's hull. Near underwater trenches and volcanic ridges like those around the Marshall Islands, the ocean itself can seem to speak, haunting, inexplicable, and deeply unsettling. Number 3. Bioluminescent waters. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, where sunlight fades into darkness, a breathtaking spectacle unfolds as countless tiny organisms ignite the inky waters with their own shimmering light. These bioluminescent creatures, often overlooked due to their minute size, are responsible for producing about 80% of the visible light in the ocean's depth. Among the most fascinating of these luminous dwellers are the lanternfish, residents of the ocean's mesopelagic zone, or twilight zone. Equipped with specialized photophores, or light-emitting organs arrayed along their bodies, lanternfish create a soft, eerie glow. This light is a sophisticated survival strategy known as counter-illumination. By matching the faint light filtering down from above, these fish effectively erase their silhouettes, making it nearly impossible for predators lurking beneath to spot them. In stark contrast, the anglerfish employs bioluminescence as a cunning hunting tool. Suspended like a dangling fishing lure above its cavernous mouth is a specialized appendage that emits an entrancing light. In the pitch-black depths, this glowing beacon becomes a deadly trap, luring curious prey closer until the anglerfish strikes with lightning speed. The eerie glow of the lure embodies a chilling mastery of deception, turning darkness into an advantage for this fearsome predator. Bioluminescence is not limited to individual creatures, but can also manifest on a grand scale, lighting up entire stretches of the ocean. Massive swaths of water, sometimes spanning thousands of square miles, occasionally shimmer with an ethereal blue radiance. Scientists believe this large-scale glow may be the collective work of bioluminescent bacteria, or plankton, which respond to disturbances such as waves or swimming creatures by flashing in unison. This phenomenon turns the ocean into a living light show. Number 2. The colossal squid. In the remote, frigid waters of the Southern Ocean in 2007, a team of New Zealand researchers, led by the passionate and widely respected marine biologist Dr. Steve O'Shea, stumbled upon one of the most extraordinary marine discoveries of modern times. The crew hauled in something utterly unexpected from the inky abyss: a living colossal squid, Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, one of the ocean's most formidable and least understood predators. Measuring an astounding 33 feet in total length and tipping the scales at over 1,000 pounds, this deep-sea leviathan was unlike anything the crew had ever seen. Its football-sized eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, stared vacantly as its long arms, equipped with rotating hooks and powerful suckers, dangled across the deck.
This was basically a completely unexpected discovery, but in this case also an extremely rare discovery that's never been seen before by anyone.
Though previously known to science through scattered remains found in the stomachs of sperm whales or washed-up fragments on Antarctic shores, never before had such a well-preserved, intact specimen been recovered alive. But wait, we're not done just yet. Number 1. When U.S. Navy encountered a monster shark. In the early hours of July 19, 1945, the USS Indianapolis, having just completed a top-secret mission delivering parts of the atomic bomb to Tinian Island, was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine and sank within minutes. Over 900 sailors survived the initial sinking, but were left stranded in shark-infested waters with little food, water, or lifeboats. During the 4 days before the rescue, many of these men reported terrifying encounters with unusually large and aggressive monster sharks. Survivors described sharks of extraordinary size, far larger than the typical reef or tiger sharks commonly found in the area. One sailor recalled seeing a shark so big it was like a submarine moving through the water, with a jaw capable of swallowing a man whole. These accounts raised speculation about whether the creatures were remnants or descendants of the prehistoric Megalodon, a gigantic shark species believed to have gone extinct millions of years ago, but often featured in naval folklore and maritime legends. The Navy itself recorded multiple shark encounters during the Second World War, especially in the Pacific theater, where tropical waters were home to diverse shark species. In some cases, shark attacks on shipwreck survivors or downed aviators were documented, heightening fears of these apex predators. One well-documented report involved the USS Triton, a nuclear-powered submarine, which in 1960 recorded sonar images of an exceptionally large shark, estimated to be over 20 feet long, swimming near the vessel off the coast of Japan. So, was it a monster megalodon? Experts emphasize that large sharks, such as the great white or the massive whale shark, can reach impressive sizes that might be mistaken for monstrous beasts, especially under stressful or life-threatening conditions. Marine biologist Dr. Laura Jensen notes, "In moments of trauma and fear, perceptions can amplify the scale of danger. However, many shark species are indeed formidable and deserve respect, especially when humans enter their domain unexpectedly." While the megalodon remains a creature of myth and legend, these real-life stories from Navy veterans continue to remind us of the ocean's vast, untamed power and the primal fear it can evoke, even in the most disciplined sailors. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.